On this episode of Pimp My Setup, I'm going to be talking about your setups you submitted for tips, tricks, feedback, and much more. So if you're interested in that, then sit back, relax, and interact because the show starts now.
It's time for the original setup show dedicated to providing you with tips, tricks, and feedback to pimp out your setup. Hosted by Matt Philly with new special guests every week. Coming at you live in 3, 2, 1.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Pimp My Setup, episode number 164, recorded live on December 8th, 2016. My name is Matt Philly. You can find me on Twitter at Matt Philly, and if you want to submit your own setup, go to pimpmysetup.com/Q, and I believe that's it. I don't really have anything else I want to say, so let's hop into the first setup. First set of the day, submitted by Dylan, who's 16. He said the theme he's going for is clean and vintage. He likes to game. He's a graphic designer, and if you want to find him on YouTube, just type in D-U-L-A-N, Doolin, even though his name's Dylan. So, yeah, take a look at this. It's definitely interesting. The paneling, I think works in some scenarios. It's cool here. It's not awful, but it's definitely woodish. So, yeah, I think it's fine. I like that he has a little bit of theme going on the right side. I'd like to see it follow through above his setup. You know, that would look really cool. So he's going for clean and vintage. It does look pretty clean. I think the setup part can use a little bit of loving, like usability, placement of the speakers. I don't really like that. I think the main monitor, it doesn't look all that sexy. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like just keep it to that one display. Look at the difference in color, and I'm sure the one's a TN panel. They might both be TN panels, but the center one definitely looks all sorts of messed up. So keep it to that one simple one on the right side. Keep that smack dab in the middle. Move the speaker, and I feel like it'd be a lot nicer. The little things like the tripod, a little weird. I think actually the leg colors too. Going for a clean vintage look, bright ass red isn't really what I would expect to see. So that bit is a little bit weird, especially because the case is bright white. You have a black desk, and I feel like the coloring is a little bit all over the place. So for me, that is kind of where my head's at. I think, the wire management, that's pretty damn good. It's a nice setup. I don't think there's much to do other than just follow through with the theme and kind of come up with what colors you want going through your whole setup. But it's an interesting room, to say the least. And someone said paint the legs. Those are $4 legs. They're just the adils. Get some black ones, silver ones, something to kind of follow suit with the rest of the room. But not bad at all. Not a lot to say about it, though. So let's hop into the next one, submitted by a fellow Matt. This Matt is 17, and he's into Apple and consoles. So basically, people are going to hate him. And there's another photo, Tom, if you want to show that. Yeah, so that's like we got the full look around his room, and I think everyone's going to have the same opinion I have, which I'll get to in a second. But he loves Apple and consoles, so kind of not what you guys care for, majority of the audience, but nothing wrong with that. And he loves technology. He wants to get into cybersecurity, things like that. So very cool. Now, I don't know if you guys agree, but especially in the second photo, he's just got a little obsession with keeping his boxes. I mean, every box he's ever owned since birth to now seems to be in here. And you go to the next photo, and then you look around above the closet. I mean, literally above the closet against the molding, he has boxes, and then boxes to the side of that. And then, oh my God, like that is a lot. I definitely think there's too much going on in this room, and you need to condense ASAP. I mean, literally, I can get putting it on the dresser, but putting it along the molding of the doors and stuff? No. God, no. Don't do that. So talking about his actual setup, though, usability seems to be pretty good. It's tight on such a small desk, but it works. It's not the end of the world. So that's nice. Probably hard to play consoles on those side displays, so I'm not going to lie. Kind of looks a little weird that you have the Call of Duty thing up on the left side. So not my cup of tea. And you have to have that fold out table. There's nothing wrong with that, but just talking about sheer usability, I mean, it's not necessarily the nicest thing in the world. Looks like cable management's also not great, and you were trying to hide it a little. So I did ask him for a photo of under the desk, and he did not send it. So I'm going to make the assumption he's trying to hide what he's got going on over there. And then the TV is like so underwhelmingly small and the bezels are fatter than your mom. So, of course, I'm sure you don't have money coming out of your ass. But if you did, I would definitely upgrade the TV. I would get a big fat ass display right there. And that would be awesome. Also, the furniture. Wow, as my voice disappears. I think if you got some fat cash as well, I would take an update to that. I know it kind of matches the doors and stuff. But then you look at your desk and that doesn't match. So I think going to IKEA, spending literally not even that much money at all on like an IKEA Kallax will completely revamp your entertainment setup, because all the consoles go into the little cube holes, and at least with that, it looks a little more presentable, and it's not just, it literally looks like little console to big console. It's like a bigger. But interesting setup. I think, theme is a little bit hard to pinpoint because there is so much going on all over the place. And if you guys are wondering, if you look at the first photo, he's obviously a Trump supporter, and he also likes Verizon because he's got a Verizon deal taped to his wall. So and Mega Millions. I don't know if his theme is big corporations. I don't know what he's going for here, but it's just kind of hard to, like I said, pinpoint what he's all about. It's great that he has all these different things, but yeah, I don't know if you guys in the chat would come up with what he's going for here. So interesting setup, a huge room it looks like with tons of possibilities. And by the way, the last thing I'll say is the iPad. That's pretty cool. The iPad's on one of those arms, so you could swivel it around. So that's nice to have. And it's definitely a cool setup, but some confusion to say the least. All right, let's go to the next setup, submitted by Alexander, who's 18. Didn't really tell me much about him other than like specs of what he's working with. And I thought this was really cool because he's got LEDs behind the canvas art, which is really interesting. I haven't seen that. But then I look at his speakers and I'm like, what the like, that's cool if they were bigger and, were meant to be like home theater speakers. I'm not, an audio guy by any means, but I do think that those are a bit high. Nonetheless, though, the cables, we don't see them, so I'm not going to cringe at it. I think it sounds good enough. I just feel like if it was lower and closer to your ears, it would probably sound a little bit better. But
where do the cables go? Are they wireless?
No, it's behind the canvas through the wall. It's got to be. I don't know where else they would go. And if they were wireless, then they probably sound like someone's butt. So. But yeah, I think what's really nice about this setup is just everything from the cable management looks really nice. I love the gray to gray to wood floor combo. I always think that looks really nice. And I love that he's got the PC where it is. And, he's got basically everything under the desk, like his headphones, all routed very nicely. Everything seems very clean. Where I kind of lost, I guess the understanding behind the setup was the iMac. Because I don't know if that's connected to his computer's peripherals, his PC peripherals, and I just don't understand the placement of it. What is it for? What is it? Why? You know what I mean? So that part of it kind of confused me, and it kind of sucks that you have the secondary monitor off to the right side, because then it completely covers the side panel of such an awesome computer. You obviously have LEDs in there and stuff, so I think that would be cool to see. If you were able to actually put the monitor to the left and get rid of the iMac, because again, I don't understand the placement of the iMac. If you could understand what it's for, if you could explain what it's for, then I think it would make a lot more sense and I would understand. But taking a look at this, awesome desk, awesome everything, very simple, elegant, straight to the point, but the iMac just kind of ruined it for me. But still, I think everything here is very modern and next level. And then he's got like the shelf on the top left, it's like plants and stuff. So plus, it's like a wood color. I thought he was going for like the whole black theme. But interesting setup, to say the least. I do like it. I think usability is nice. And it's just those few things. The iMac and the speakers kind of confused me a bit. So very nice. But let's go to the next setup that's even better, in my personal opinion, that I really, really like. Submitted by Chance, who's 15. And not a chance that he would actually tell us anything about himself. But this setup, really, except for like one or two things, I really enjoyed. I think it's a great setup. Usability is basically good. He does have the middle leg, and it looks like he's not necessarily in between the middle leg and the far right leg. Seems like his left leg might like kick into that. That's one thing I was a little confused about. Obviously, I'm not saying that he's not smart enough to move his leg when he's sitting there. I'm just saying when he's actually sitting there, you would imagine his leg and that leg would be sort of an issue. But that case is ginormous, absolutely amazing. I really like it, but I think it takes up a little bit too much space. And in order to keep it there, I would get rid of whatever's in front of it and then tilt it a little, and it would be more of a display. Because right now, yeah, we could see the interior, but it's facing a shelf. So if it was tilted, pushed a little more into the corner, that way we would see it, like when where you're taking the photo, I would assume is where you walk into the room, and it would really show off there, and it would look really, really nice. And then that'll let you slide down a little bit more, get more usability out of your desk. Nonetheless, though, pretty damn sexy case. And I like it. I like the blackout curtains. I like how clean the shelves are. Like that's goals right there. He has boxes, but who cares? Because it's so clean and it's not overwhelmingly placed. The motherboards, all that stuff, very, very cool. I like the New York Empire State Building poster right there. It's in a small little spot, but it just works and it fills up a little bit of room. And then the headphones, that's cool. He's got a snowball. Should I smack him? No, I'm just kidding. And it's like really just super clean. The floors are clean. The wire management's clean. He's got his guitar, and the amp is not even in a spot that's annoying. You know what I mean? And he's got stuff mounted under the desk. It's just very nice, straight to the point, works perfectly. Someone said PC on the ground. I mean, it would work where the Marshall amp is, I think, but it'd have to be on a slab of wood, and he'd have to really be worried about cleaning it every so often. I think it's in a good spot. I do think it's in a great spot, but it needs to be. Yeah, I just work on the PC, like I said. I know the cables are one thing that he's probably worried about showing if he rotates it, but very easy to fix. And great setup, though. Really like how simple yet effective it is. So let's go to the next setup submitted by Calum, who's 15. He's the first person. Oh, my God. My voice, again, just completely disappeared. First-person shooter gamer. He's a big fan of Marvel and DC and wants to work that into his theme and get rid of the tiger stuff. So, yeah, my first thought was, who put the decal there? Out of all, it's like his ass is coming out of the monitor, but then his body's coming out of the monitor. I don't understand the thought process there. And he's got a big-ass tiger canvas on the top left there as well. Interesting to say the least. So I'm happy that he already said this in the email, because I was going to say, get rid of it. I think it would make a little bit more sense if it was higher up and not being blocked by the desk and monitor, but it just doesn't make sense to me. So I'm happy you want to get rid of that. And knowing that you're a big fan of Marvel and DC, I wouldn't have known that other than your monitor. So I would like to see, and of course the pop finals, but I would like to see sort of the rest of the wall be used. You have this huge wall. It looks really, really tall. Why not do something with that? That's crazy. If you want to get a fat head of your boy Flash, or some crazy posters or shelves, more pop vinyls or something to that extent, I think it would look freaking sweet, because everything else is pretty damn nice. It's straight to the point. Your cables, you don't have much room to kind of work with them, but it's there, it's done, it's managed, it's nice. So good job with that. To the right side, I'm not a big fan of people just putting games on their desk like that, but I don't think it's a problem in the grand scheme of things. They're nicely organized. You have your Astros over there, so that's good. And then the PC in this scenario, it's not really a PC that's it's a cool case, but there's no side panel with awesome LEDs and stuff. So I'd put that down on the ground. I don't think you need to take up valuable real estate with that. But you get some bright, colorful Marvel DC stuff up on the wall. You get some LEDs to kind of illuminate what you got going on there. And I think this would look really, really nice. And you're only 15, so you have a lot of time ahead of you to focus on things like that. So this setup could look absolutely insane. Keep working on it and let me know how it turns out. But now let's go to the next setup submitted by, why did I write Aidan? I don't even think that's his name. I think it's
Aidan. That's what it says here.
No, I know. That's what I just said. I think his name is Ethan, though. Let me see. Yeah, Ethan. Oh, it's submitted by Ethan, but his name is Aidan, so he's going through some sort of crisis right now. Anyways, he's 13. He loves sports and video games, and his YouTube channel is Double PvP, but it's DUBLE PvP. So take a look at this. Wire management, awful. No attempt really, other than putting into a bucket, which doesn't really mean you tried. So yeah, nice attempt there. Theme, there's nothing on the wall, nothing to really work with. usability, I feel like it was a little bit off and not really the best placement of it. That like riser thing, it doesn't look like it's bolted to the desk or anything. I'd take that off. You're not even using it, so I'd get rid of that and center yourself to that side of the wall. It would look a little bit nicer. That graffiti stuff, put that on the wall. I think that would look really nice. And then work on your cable management. Take it really serious. There's a lot you could do to make this great, and I think it's definitely at the beginning point, and it's almost as if you just placed it there and it was like, yeah, this is it. But it's like, okay, you moved in, now you got to actually set things up the proper way. So people are saying chair. He probably just moved the chair. Most people move their chair for the photo. I hope he doesn't use that chair that's under there, and that's more of just like a, okay, he probably uses that. Anyways,
no, that would be terrible.
yeah, he's like, oh yeah. Those things always look comfy, but you sit on them, they're usually like really uncomfortable.
So flimsy.
Yeah.
Like you could sit on it.
Oh, my fat ass on that, just not even a chair anymore. But yeah, I think it's a great starting point, but come on, man. You got to fill up those walls. You got to do some work. You ain't got to go work. Okay, anyways. Next setup, submitted by Bardia, I believe. Bardia. Bardia's 13. He's going for a TF2, Team Fortress 2 theme. Not really too well versed with that, so he kind of explained what he was going for and why it works. But look how crinkled that damn poster is. I appreciate the attempt, because he did say that he, saw more episodes and realized he needed to get a theme, so he kind of went and got that. But it's so wrinkled that it needs to be put in a frame, and it would look a lot nicer. It would even it out, and it would look dope. Now, the rest of it, I know it's not the best equipment in the world, but that's the beauty of it. He got a pretty good score because category by category, he did a great job. Wire management looks really nice. Usability, I mean, yeah, you think about it, you sit there, everything's usable. His headphones, he's got one on his desk, one under his desk, and if he wants access to his PC, any of that stuff, super easy. So I like what he's going for in terms of all the different categories, but it is underwhelming. So it can get a great score, but it doesn't mean like, God damn, I want to just do it. Like it's just, that's not how it is, Yeah, bezel's fatter than your mom, especially the double chin bezel we got going on there, but it works, and he's only 13. So I think being 13, amazing job. But kind of like take money now, save up, and improve upon things. Get a brand new monitor. Doesn't have to be anything crazy. It'll be $150 and it'll be a huge upgrade from what you're working with. Get the poster frame and just focus on taking things to the next level. So not bad at all. I really do like it. Great job. Especially, like I said, being 13, it seems like you know what you're doing, So cool, nice, great. All right, let's go to the next setup. Final setup of the day, submitted by Kornelius, who's 14. And basically, we take a look at the second photo, and cable management is an issue here as well. We got duct tape wrapped around one of the cables, which doesn't really constitute itself as an attempt at cable management. I guess you could say it's an attempt, but I mean an attempt that really is just a waste of time because it's not really doing anything. So cable management completely butchered your score, but everything else, looking at the accessories, you have a lot of cool things here, a lot of RGB, oh my god. But usability, I thought it was kind of like everything was a little too close to the edge. Really utilize the depth of the desk, bring yourself a little back. It looks a little cramped even though you have a lot of space. So that was one thing that I thought was a little bit weird. The placement of the crossbow is also weird because it's like overlapping the window, but you have all the room to the right. So put it in a better spot. That would be nice. And then you got to work on theme. Are you going for the whole colorful rainbow thing? If so, where's that through everything else? So utilize that wall space above, clean up the cables, kind of move things back a little, get your usability set to how it should be. Don't make it so cramped on such a big desk. And then, yeah, I mean, in a scenario like this, you obviously spent your money on the peripherals and the chair, and then you were like, oh, I got to work on the rest of the stuff. So it's nice. You have a lot of great accessories and peripherals, so you're ready to have a good setup. You just got to execute. So I think that's really, people are like, oh my God, that's not a crossbow. That's a compound bow. That's just a normal bow.
You know what you're talking about, though.
Do you know anything about bows?
You know bow hunter?
I'm Mr. Bow, and I know how to bow all kind of bows, and that's not a crossbow. Okay. Anyways, really though, great start. but let's get it going. That's the ongoing theme for today's episode. Everybody's like, I got great stuff, but I ain't know what to do with it. So first setup was submitted by Dylan. He got a 74. Matt with a 76. Alexander with an 84. Chance with a 90. Calum with a 78. Aidan with a 52. Bardia with an 82. And Kornelius with the 64. So there you go, guys. Thanks so much for watching this episode of Pimp My Setup episode 164 on December 8th, 2016. My name is Matt Philly. You can find me on Twitter at Matt Philly. I'll catch you on a flippity flop. And for everybody that complains, damn. Okay.